You're listening to Sudbury News Talk.
I want to show you something.
Stand by. On the morning shift.
Anything
could happen.
Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.
All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift. I'm AJ Walsh. Glad to be here with you. Thankful that you're here with us. We got a great show planned for you today. We have a special guest on the show, guest host, and he's been on the show before. His name's Miles Shields, and we're looking forward to speaking with him, not only because he just knows a lot about a lot of things, or maybe a little bit of a lot of things. Anyways, he's able to carry on a conversation on multiple topics anytime, anywhere. And but mainly, I'm looking forward to chatting with him about sports because we are both avid sports lovers. And the Sudbury Wolves find themselves in the midst of a playoff series and in the playoffs against the Mississauga Steelheads, and they were up 2-0. Now it's 2-1. They play again tonight at home. We'll talk about the three games that were and maybe what we can look forward to with that series, and then maybe that's it. I don't know. We'll see what Miles has to say about that. The Five are in action this Saturday as well here in town. Not until then, though. So we're live on CKLU 96.7 FM. We're also streaming at cklu.ca. You just click on the Radio Player Canada app. You can stream us. You can also download the same Radio Player Canada app. You can take us with you and listen to us anywhere, anytime on your favorite device. We're Sudbury's campus and community radio station. We've been around since 1984. We just went through our pledge week, but it doesn't mean we can't still continue to support CKLU. You just head on over to cklu.ca. You can buy any of the merch that's on the website that helps keep the lights on and keeps the airwaves open. Also, if you just, you don't need any merch or whatever, and you already have lots of shirts and mugs and hats and things like that, and you just want to support the station, the best way to do it is just make a donation. If you have the means and you do think it's an important thing that we have here in Greater Sudbury. Now, as for Sudbury News Talk, we're also live streaming at facebook.com/Sudbury News, youtube.com/Sudbury News. We're grateful to be here. And make sure to like, share, subscribe, follow, and comment on those two platforms, because that's where we have a conversation on your station through these platforms. We're grateful for all of them, the radio station, the Facebook, YouTube, and it is what it is. We're using it while it's here, while we're able to be on the platforms. We're just anticipating any old day to just say, okay, Facebook's decided that it's not going to be on anymore, and it's not, or YouTube could decide the same. So this is the world we live in. It is what it is. But for now, we're still having a conversation, and we're grateful for that. So let's dive right in. We have some weather, and like I said, sports. We'll welcome Miles on after the weather, and we'll talk a little bit about sports, and then we'll head on into our news headlines, local news headlines, and there's lots going on. There's an eclipse coming up. They've given the kids the school day off on Monday. And so that way, when they get out, they're not looking up at the eclipse, because apparently it's dangerous. I'm not sure 100% why. Maybe Miles will be able to add a little bit to that, or maybe some of the stories will, or maybe Sudbury.com could shed a little light on it. No pun intended. And then we'll have your comments and more. The weather's interesting, so there's a bit of a warning here. Lots of snow apparently. About to make its way here. So we'll be back right after this. Stay tuned. All right, and Sudbury Weather is brought to you by sudburyweather.ca. And currently, I'm not sure why that just disappeared. There's no reason for it. But it seems to be all rebooting itself for no reason. Here you go. Currently 1 degree. light rain and snow out there. And you can expect a weather warning, snowfall warning now to be exact. Significant snowfall likely today into early Thursday morning. Hazards, total snowfall amounts of 15 to 25 centimeters, particularly north of Sudbury and Elliott Lake. Peak snowfall rates 2 to 4 centimeters per hour. Reduced visibility in areas of heavier snow. So it's beginning early this morning and tapering off by Thursday. So mix of rain and snow is transitioning to snow early this morning, and the snow will continue through the day into the night. And areas farther south along Highway 17 corridor, including Greater Sudbury and Elliott Lake, precipitation may continue as a mix of rain and snow, with a changeover to all snow. Not likely until this evening. As a result, snowfall amounts in this corridor will likely be less. I love these words they just come up with and stuff that we're going to get used to. In this corridor. What corridor do you live in? Oh, I live in the South Corridor. Anyways, so here you go. Precipitation should taper off Thursday morning. Rapidly accumulating snow could make travel difficult over some locations. Surfaces such as highways, roads, walkways, and parking lots may become difficult. All right, to navigate due to accumulating snow. Be prepared to adjust your driving with changing road conditions. That is your warning, and this is the forecast. So today, snow at times mixed with rain. Local snowfall amounts 5 to 10 centimeters. Wind east 30 kilometers, gusting to 50. High of +3. Index, UV index. You want to know that today, probably. It's 1 or low. Tonight, snow amount of 5 centimeters. Wind gusting to 50 kilometers. Low of 0. Thursday, cloudy with a 30% chance of flurries. Wind northeast 30 kilometers, high of +2, and UV index will go up to 2 tomorrow. So make sure to wear your sunscreen. That's a joke. That's sarcasm. All right. Extended forecast. As we know, tomorrow chance of flurries, high of 2, 30% chance of flurries, that is. And then Friday, cloudy, 4. And they're still saying, I don't know why, but they're still saying it's going to be sunny Saturday, Sunday, Monday. They're saying that. They've actually said it. They said it last week too. But it didn't, we did get some sun. Some people will say, what are you talking about, AJ? You're always dissing the weather thing. And I saw the sun. It was peeking through the clouds. Yeah, well, that's not what the forecast was. The forecast said totally sunny for 3 days. And it was mostly cloudy with a little bit of sun peeking through, which, yeah, sure, it was bright. Okay, I got it. But no, just, what's going on? There you go. That's your forecast for the next little while. Look at your satellite, and it looks like a lot of activities going on right around the Great Lakes and vicinity. If you were to just take the Great Lakes, plop it down on a map, and put a bunch of clouds around the Great Lakes, that's what it looks like, with a lot of precipitation in the green over Sudbury and the North Shore. And that's just a description for those on the radio and listening on CKLU. We'll be back with Miles Shields. We'll be talking about sports, news headlines, your comments, and more. Right after this, that was Sudbury Weather, brought to you by SudburyWeather.ca. So now it's time to welcome in our guest, which is Miles Shields. And I just unmuted you, Miles, so I'm going to make sure to just check to make sure that I can hear you and everyone else can hear you. Good morning. Oh,
thanks.
No, I have to click it again.
Thanks, Brian. Did you try? Did you get me?
Yeah, you're on. I clicked it, but you know, sometimes you got to click twice. It is what it is.
Well, there's probably a delay.
Yeah.
Well, good morning, everybody. Anyway.
Yes, it's been a while since you've been on the show, Miles.
Yeah, there's not too many times since the pandemic. I don't think I've been on, and it kind of screwed everything up. But that's all right.
Yeah. Well, you've been on Sudbury News Talk too. After Sudbury Sports Talk.
Yes.
Back in the day. Remember we used to
sports. We had to meet at the studio all the time.
I was just going to say that. Remember we had to just meet there, and that was it.
Free parking before 9 o'clock, and I was all right.
Yeah, exactly. So at least you don't have to worry about parking at this juncture or whatever.
No.
And I know you've been watching the Sudbury Wolves because you love sports and obviously you follow the Sudbury Wolves. What did you think about this season they've had so far? And then
They had a
we'll get
pretty
into
good
playoffs.
season. Like their seasons compared to previous ones have been pretty good. I thought they really did well and had a successful season. The playoffs has started off pretty successful. They're still, one game ahead, and just go into the next game like it's a brand new game and go at the team a little harder. That's all.
For sure. Well, the first game was 3-0 in Mississauga, and it looked like we were we just started off the way you'd want to start off a playoff series. Next game, not so much.
Yeah, second game was good.
Was a
second
nail
game was a
biter.
thriller, so that was good.
And but again,
it's an exciting game.
We could be down just as easily 2-1 as being up 2-1 if you consider the second game.
Yeah, that's true. But I think their grit and determination came through, and they got to do the same thing in game 4 here coming up. So make sure they can get ahead right away. I think they can. The other team, like I said before, was trying to check quite a bit in the neutral zone. So all you have to do is make those stretch passes and break that trap, and you'd be all right.
Now, I thought we'd just be seeing the Goyette, Musty, Dvorsky show. But they've had a lot of good supporting players step up, and I think their whole team is doing well. The only problem is that other teams are doing
the same thing. Yeah,
they're like, this season has been interesting because it's been neck and neck for the leadership of the conference,
what was
the
it?
division.
Like 2 points between fifth place and first place.
Exactly. Yeah, there's 5 teams within those 2 points.
You can't really take anything away from anybody.
No. One game would have made a difference, like winning one game or losing one game during the season. Like that's how close it was this year.
Yeah.
And again, so it could go either way in the playoff series. Like if the Sudbury Wolves lose tonight here in town.
Big advantage we got is the fans, and when they stuff the old barn full of people and get them going, and if you can get the first goal, then I think it's all set once you get the.
So fans, you definitely have to come out tonight. You are part of if the Sudbury Wolves are going to do it this year, you are definitely part of it. So get out and support them. Get your tickets. I still think you can get them. I don't know if you can get a whole row for your whole family because that's probably going to be hard to do. But I mean, if you and someone else or just you should be able to get tickets still for that game tonight. It'll be also on CKLU. If you're not able to get tickets, you can listen right here on this station. It's also broadcast on Eastlink if you have Eastlink as well. So
if you don't, you can usually stream it someplace. You can find a streaming site someplace.
Yeah, exactly. And have you been following the 5 at all this year at all, Miles?
No, I can't say I have. I'm not a big basketball fan, but I guess they've been doing about 50-50 all year, not really winning a lot, not really losing a lot.
No.
And their schedule is kind of small and tight, so they'll likely end up going in the playoffs at the end of the season.
Yeah, well, because there's not that many teams. I don't know how you don't make the playoffs in the league, but the interesting name of
I don't understand the Super League too much.
Mm-hmm. The Lebanon.
I don't understand the Super League too much. I'm not sure.
Yeah, the Lebanon Leprechauns were in town last. That's an interesting name for a team, if you ask me.
Is that Lebanon, Pennsylvania, or where is that?
I guess so. It wouldn't be
I know
Lebanon.
There's a Lebanon in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the country Lebanon, as we know. No. But they were able to, the 5 beat them.
No, there's some town.
Mm-hmm. 5 was able to beat them at least, 136-126. That was way back on Saturday. And they're not playing again until this Saturday against the Newfoundland Rogues. They're in town.
Okay.
That'll be 2 p.m. So don't miss the game and show up at 7 and it's already done, right? So 2 p.m. Saturday.
Newfoundland lost their hockey team. They had to suspend operations.
And what was the reason?
controversy with the league, and I'm not sure exactly what happened. There's two teams that two Canadian teams in the ECHL had to suspend operations.
Odd.
And yeah, like
Very odd.
right at the end of the season, no playoffs, no nothing.
Wow.
I think Montreal and Toronto's minor league teams in that league, anyway, with Newfoundland and I forget where the other one is, someplace in the East Coast.
Well, that would be devastating because that's their hockey team, right? So that's
the Growlers.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's hopefully they can come back next year and they can figure out what they got to figure out.
Go in the A or someplace, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's all the sports we're going to be talking about for now, unless it comes up again. Oh, let me see. I think Sudbury.com. Oh, yeah, they talked about the last game, Sudbury Wolves. So anyways, unless it comes up, that's good. But, it's nothing to, if something is, relevant as we're talking, we'll head on now to some news headlines and get your take on that, along with all the others that are joining us. We got quite a big bunch on the show right now, so we'll be back right after this. Okay, quite a few people joining on, as usual, right around the region of Sudbury and abroad. We welcome all those who are not in this vicinity as well, and hopefully some of the things we're talking on today have some relevance for you as well, and usually does. So good morning, Vin. Thanks for being on. Liette, good morning, and thanks for your email yesterday. I was watching the video you sent, and it's very informative. Thank you very much. Keep it coming. Belinda, good morning. Make peace your past so it won't disturb your future. Life can be difficult to navigate. Always positive, always thought-provoking. Thank you very much, Belinda. Yeah, don't live in the past either. Like, just learn from it and move on. Make peace. Don't hold on to grudges. Don't carry them around. I know Miles knows a thing or two about that as well. To just let things go when you have to.
Exactly.
Don't keep things bottled up.
Yeah. It's better for you to forgive. Yeah.
That's right. Forgive and not necessarily forget. Forgive and learn, I think, is good, and set boundaries sometimes.
Yeah.
Vin says, a nasty wind, freezing rain, sleet this morning. Wouldn't recognize the good without living through the bad. It's interesting you say that, Vin, because that's what I was pondering this morning before the show, and that's one of the things. I said I'm thankful for this terrible weather, because then I'm going to enjoy 3 days of sun, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, according to Environment and Climate Change Canada. So,
I think climate change is going to change. The weather is going to change.
yeah. Are you predicting the weather's going to change, Miles?
That's climate change. Yeah, the weather will change. Yeah,
that's right. And Marianne,
guarantee that.
It's always a guarantee. The weather will change for sure. Marianne, good morning from Barrie. Liked and shared as usual. Good morning, Marianne. Denise says, my first eclipse was at school, and we stayed at school, and we experienced it with glasses. I took mine off and it was fine. Then there was another one didn't wear glasses. I looked at it again. I'm still fine, but we've never had an emergency around an eclipse ever. And that's true. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. Sudbury.com has covered that story for us today. We'll get into that. Jerome, good morning. Freedom-loving Sudbury people! ! !2. Marianne says, exactly, was telling my neighbor's kids that. This whole eclipse thing, I'm trying to wonder what it is that, the science of how it's bad for your eyes, but we'll talk about that a little bit later on. Maurice, good morning, and smiley emoji, much appreciated. Vin also sounds a little under the weather. I do. And if I can be here, I'm going to be here. It actually gives me a little deeper of a voice, so maybe it's easier to get across. I don't have to try as hard. Sometimes
Your
I wish.
James Earl Jones voice.
What's that?
Do your James Earl Jones voice. Then.
Oh yeah, the most trusted name in news, Sudbury News.
Yeah. SNN.
Exactly. Belinda says the norm is seeing chemtrails strewn across the sky. I saw them yesterday. Okay, Miles, this is something we've never talked about ever. Is
We
this a
haven't?
term?
No, I guess not.
I don't believe so, either on air or off. I don't remember ever talking to you about this subject. But do you notice?
I don't know too much. I don't
Okay.
know too much on the subject, but
Okay.
I've heard a lot about it.
Okay. Do you notice it as you're outside? Like, do you notice, the
I don't.
lines?
I don't notice it maybe as much. I'm not paying attention as other
Okay.
people, but I've seen like the pictures on Facebook, and
Mm-hmm.
I can understand what they mean. And I've
Yeah,
seen the news, some news clips, like independent news clips about they've been doing it since the 1980s.
for
I
sure. A
think it
long
has
time.
been.
Yes. Geoengineering
Yeah,
is
the
its
the Air
term.
Force.
Correct.
Well, the American Air Force started it mostly, and they
Yes.
kind of overlapped in the Canadian airspace for a long time.
And now I think it's
And
just a global initiative. I don't think
yeah,
it's maybe
yeah, back
headed
in
by
the
the
80s.
Americans, but yeah.
Yeah, it's back in the 80s. It started with the U.S. Yeah,
And apparently, Espanola was chosen as one of the pilot
test
cities
areas.
or pilot areas to start it. And why would you think they chose Espanola of all places?
This, oh, I don't know.
Well, if there
Maybe
were
because
any,
maybe because of the visible pollution there. I don't know.
that one, yeah, and any smell too. If there was anything that was
Oh, I see.
noticeable of the smell, like it would be masked as well, right? So
Yeah,
they
like how dangerous are these particles they're putting into the air? That's if we don't
yeah,
know.
that's the
It's all
thing.
experimental stuff, so we
I
don't know.
know, and we are the experiment, unfortunately. So yeah, I think there needs to be more digging around what's going on. Marianne says was going to say sounds like he has a cold. Yes, I do. Nancy, good morning. And I don't know cold. I just think I don't know. I just got a little bit of a thing in my throat, and yeah, I guess it's a form of a cold. Good morning, Nancy. Thanks for being with us. And Sheila, sunshine must be great weather for flying. Yes, it would be. I know my daughter's been doing a lot of flying. She's down in Mississippi at the moment. She'll be down there for 3 weeks, so she'll be right in the eye of the eclipse as it goes over there. So she'll just be able to watch out of the place she's staying out the window, and she'll see it. Yes, when it's blue skies, the chemtrails come out and partially block the sun for sure. And Miles, you said you don't really notice, but from now on, I'll invite you to just kind of pay attention more to the
Yeah,
skies.
I'll take a look more. I was
Yeah.
looking actually the other day, and I didn't see too much when it was clear out a couple of days ago, but that was just on Sunday. They weren't working on Sunday, so maybe I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah. Well, yeah, definitely. Well,
maybe
just
it's, maybe it's during the week they do more of that stuff. And
no, I don't think
but
it's. Yeah, go ahead.
but they've been doing that for years, putting chemicals in, like over 100 years. People have been putting chemicals into the skies, whether it be rainmakers like 150 years ago, or
Hmm.
they're blasting their little firework rockets or whatever,
Yep.
to now with the Air Force using planes and so on. So
Yes. Yeah. No, it's
it's
not
happening.
new.
No,
No, but
definitely.
I think it's just more organized now, kind of thing. It's more,
I believe so.
and
Yeah,
global, and seems like they have a.
it seems like it's definitely looks that way anyway.
And again, publicly, the geoengineering people, it's a lot. It's a lot of Bill Gates apparently funding this initiative of geoengineering, and the goal is to cool down the Earth because of climate change is getting
Yeah.
warmer. But again, right, a lot of the chemicals that are being used and metals that are in the spray, we don't know what it's doing, whether it's to vegetation, animal life, our water system when we breathe it in. Like again, right? Like only the future will tell what the effects of that will be. Vin says he saw a picture of active versus inactive satellites in orbit on the science page. Have a peek. Amazing, we still see the sun. Oh, that's interesting. So I guess it shows all of the the spraying going on from satellites and whatever. So that would be great if you can share that link, Vin, in the chat if anyone's interested in that. Monique, good day, everyone. Good day, Monique. Thanks for being with us. And Contact C, awesome cold medication. Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, so I've been taking something called, it's an elderberry concoction that my wife made. Elderberry, cinnamon, I don't know. There's other things in it. And manuka, honey, in a little tincture. So whenever you start feeling something coming on, you start doing that. But I've been doing that. But I guess other people I've seen with the same cold, like they have fever, they're down for the count, they're out, they're gone. So far, I think that's been able to help me keep it to just what it is.
I always do a preventative for a cold, and I take an oil of oregano capsule one every day. I've never had a cold in the last, I've been doing that for a couple of years now. I've never had a cold for a long time.
And where do you get this oil of oregano capsule that you take?
Any pharmacy, or
okay.
I usually pick it up at the Walmart pharmacy.
Cool.
And where the natural food, or whatever you call them, natural supplements are.
Nice.
For the oil of oregano. It comes in a liquid form or that gel capsule form, whatever you want.
Yeah, just don't try taking oil of oregano just by itself on a spoon. You'll regret that.
No, yeah. The capsule is like a very minute amount, yes.
It's very potent. Whoa. That stuff can knock you down.
And the taste stays in your mouth for a long time.
Oh, man. It's like licking a pine tree, even worse. Anyways, so.
Yeah.
All right.
Even with the capsule, make sure you eat afterwards or drink something.
Take with food.
Yes.
Dump and run when they are controlling the neutral zone. Oh, this is Wolves talk here. This is awesome.
Vin got a good, he had a good suggestion there, yeah.
For sure, yeah. Dump and run, and
because they're hockey. Dump and run.
Well, that's what you were saying. They were doing a real good trap game or something in the neutral zone.
Yeah, there's a few ways you can break it, but I say the big way, if you have talented players, is a stretch pass, right? Make sure you got players going when you turn over the puck in your own zone.
So as soon as you see your players got the puck on his stick, you start bolting for the other side, kind of thing, right? And accept a pass.
Or if you're making a change, you change at one end, and the guy comes out in the neutral zone end as fast as he can, right?
Yeah.
That's another way of fooling the trap, because they don't see the guy coming off the bench, right?
Yeah. And maybe we were surprised with the trap. Maybe they didn't use the trap in the first two games. I wouldn't have noticed, right?
Or they didn't use it, or they didn't do it very well.
Yeah.
I think they did too, yeah.
But I definitely know there was 3 goals that were just turned over, just like, thank you.
Yeah.
Sudbury Wolves almost just passed it right on their stick kind of thing.
Yeah, they're checking pretty hard, yeah. The other team,
yeah. So hopefully we have the answer for that, and good suggestion, Vin. Marianne says warm water, lemon, and honey. Better, not pharmaceutical. For sure. So I got a ginger, honey, and lemon drink that I'd made for the first time last. I didn't think I'd have to do it, but it was progressing a little bit, I've got one, and it really helped. Had no sore throat last night as I was sleeping. It was great, so it helped out a lot. The amount of money that goes into sports while our people are suffering, I have no love for sports at all. I could care less. And that's my opinion. And that's like just me. Denise, a lot of people share your point of view. Believe you me, I know.
Yeah, I understand that position, yeah.
Yeah, kids in our community playing at a local rink, thought I support that. Be kids, even the adults. We don't need to put so much money into fun. And you hear that a lot too, how expensive hockey is these days. If you even want to just start your child in it, it's like, wow, you have to be rich.
There's a lot of organization trying to help that. It's just too few money going into that, like that Kraft Hockeyville, for instance. I don't know if you mentioned it yesterday or whatever, Elliott Lake winning it.
They did win. I shared it on social media, but yesterday when Billy was in, we didn't talk about it. But Elliott Lake won $250,000.
So plus $10,000 from the NHLPA going into like local sports for funding those
Yeah.
that can't afford it, right?
Yes.
So they won that too. So it's not doesn't sound like much, but 10,000 go a long way in a small community like Elliott Lake, right?
And apparently their team was playing in like Massey or something because
Yeah,
something was up with
yeah,
their arena.
yeah. I heard. I talked to a few people. That's my hometown.
Yeah.
The rink was being used quite a bit in Massey by minor sports and the junior team as well.
Yeah, exactly. It was good for Massey, but not so good for Elliott
No,
Lake, you know?
well, that's what they were saying. They had to go 45 when they were on sports. They had to go 45 minutes
Yeah.
to play their hockey. They used to have two rinks in Elliott Lake at one time,
Mm,
but the one closed down, sold privately for a warehouse or something up on the hillside.
yep.
It's a smaller rink, looks like a rink from Massey or something, but it's not being used as an arena anymore.
No. Now, speaking of like probably more professional sports, Monique says all sports is rigged. And I tend to look, there's enough evidence. I know you and I share a mutual friend.
I don't think all sports. I don't think all sports are rigged. I don't know.
I'm starting to think that if yeah, that okay, all sports. What sports would you think isn't or couldn't be rigged?
I don't know.
Because there's a lot of evidence that does show that pretty much every sport is kind of rigged.
It looks like it leans towards certain things. Like
Yeah,
now they all have replay.
true.
Instant replay on positions and
Yeah.
plays. And it's funny that I know Major League Baseball and hockey, their replay. No, one's Toronto. It's right. The hockey is Toronto, and the other one, Major League Baseball, is New York, where they do their replays.
Yes.
The two other sports, the replays are done on site, like right at the game.
Yes.
So that may tell you something. I'm not saying trying to build up any controversy or anything, but having those, you know what I mean?
I
so,
do.
Yeah. So, I mean, it seems like it's kind of, we're going to do the replays at Toronto or we're going to do them in New York and
Yep.
what we say goes. They tell the
Yeah.
umpires and referees.
Exactly. And there's always controversy. Like you look at the replay and you're like, what? You said
They
that.
figured that one out.
Yeah, that exact play was whatever, a different decision the day before. And now you're making almost looks exactly the same, but now you're in favor in a different way. So, yeah, even if we're trying to make things fair, it just seems, yeah. So there's a lot of evidence because betting is such a big thing these days. There's such huge money in it.
Well, there's a big controversy in baseball now with the Shohei Ohtani and his interpreter.
Yeah, you're right. Exactly. Yes.
Whether he actually sent him money himself or somebody else did it for him, or I mean that guy should be looked. It should be investigated a lot closer than it is right now.
As you remember, Pete Rose back in the day from the
Pete Rose didn't even bet on baseball.
No.
He bet on sports.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And he was a manager. He wasn't even a player then.
Exactly.
When he did that, and they kicked him out for good. So I mean, if this was back in the 1980s, I think Shohei would be going back to Japan.
Yeah, not today though. He's the highest paid player in the in baseball, right? So
well, he's the big show, right?
Yeah, he's the guy. Well, okay, so Monique says, and this is what happened on the show a little bit. Remember Rome and the Colosseum? All the distraction sports, right? So
that was before my time.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we're not that old, but yeah, no, we remember the distraction for sure. Sports is used in terms of, and look, it can be negative, but it also is positive too. Like I remember,
it's used as in the past. It's been used as propaganda mostly, right?
For sure, and not just recently.
Berlin Olympics was a big first one, right?
Yeah, you're right.
Wanted to show.
But even today, like all the social issues and whatever, all the athletes either support it or they don't. So they come out in collective,
Yeah.
support of something. And if one or two athletes say, you know what, I'm not going to wear the ribbon, I'm just not, like in that Seinfeld episode. I'll go along with you. I'll do everything, but I'm not going to do everything you tell me to do. I support it. No, to support it, you got to do this. You got to wear the shirt. You got to put your hockey stick this way. You're like,
I
no,
remember that episode.
exactly. So, it's, today it's used as well, but also I have to acknowledge Don, who sends me quite a few emails. He sent me a speech, and the particular gentleman in the speech was saying he was part of the riots in Detroit City back in the day, some racial riots, and
Back in a long time
60s, right? Yeah. So
Yeah.
what ended up happening the year after these riots, the Detroit Tigers won the World Series, and it basically kiboshed any friction in that city. It was totally gone. Like, it almost single-handedly resolved the racial issues because the whole city rallied behind one cause. Like, they were all so black and white alike were both Tigers
I
fans,
can
right?
think of the Canada-Russia series as well back in '72. There was a lot of problems, if you remember, and riots in Quebec just before
Yes.
that in 1970, right?
Yeah.
Well, I remember it. And when,
I wasn't born yet. I wasn't
everybody,
born until 71. But anyways, yeah.
I know. But everybody concentrated and was cheering for Canada like it was a war between Canada and Russia on the ice, right? And
Yeah.
that's kind of they say, whatever you want to say, united the country, and
Yeah.
there wasn't any more riots in Quebec after the Canada-Russia series.
Yeah, exactly. It's so, again, like their war was on the ice, and it's almost like, okay, we have a disagreement. Let's have an arm wrestle and we'll resolve things, kind of thing, like that. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, let's do this
It
particular
was kind
thing.
of like the ancient Rome.
Yeah, instead of killing each other or whatever, let's have a duel, and whoever wins, so you can get your frustrations out that way. So in a way, it's kind of like a thing like that, especially violent sports. If you consider like a football or a hockey more of a
Yeah, it's
violent
kind of a
sport.
distraction.
And it is too, for sure. Some people more than others, right? Like let's say it consumed your life. If that's all you did, and you didn't do anything else, well, that's
There's a lot of
gets
people,
to be a
yeah.
point.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, well we talked a lot about sports today, but we're also able to fit that in. So we have an eclipse coming up. Might as well get to that now. If it snowfall warning, we got that. Once in a lifetime buzz building in Sudbury for solar eclipse. There's a buzz building in Sudbury for the solar eclipse.
I don't think we're going to see the full effect of it.
No, we're not. No, Niagara Falls is in Canada. Maybe some parts of Sliver,
They
Kingston.
say they caution you not to look because of I'm not sure what they're called, but it's like a welder, right? When you see somebody welding, you don't look directly at the flare of the welding.
Well, I can see that because it's actually just a bright light, whereas with the sun, the moon's blocking it. So they even said the temperatures get cooler during an eclipse. Like actually, the temperature goes a few degrees down. So the temperature goes a few degrees down. Thanks, Vin, for sharing that link, by the way. Temperature goes a few degrees down. So why is it more harmful for your eyes to look at it if it's actually getting cooler and there's less sun to look at? So they don't go around saying, don't look at the sun. Don't look at the sun because it could be bad for your eyes. No one says that. Like, they aren't
Like it's
canceling schools during the day because the sun is out.
It's that really bright light around the rim of the moon. I think that's really dangerous. If you're in the zone where it's more intense than other zones, we're not going to be in the intense zone
Have you ever heard a testimony? Have you ever heard a testimony of someone saying, they have a show or something and there's 3 or 4 people or a talk show.
They lost their eyesight.
Yeah, they're like, we have 3 people with us today. Our special guests are so-and-so and so-and-so. They're from around. They all have something in common. They all looked at an eclipse and now they can't see. Have you ever heard of anybody saying, or my eyesight got worse or anything? Have you ever heard a testimony of somebody saying, it's actually true? And I would go out on a limb and say there's been a lot of people who have, and one of the people on the show even admitted they looked directly at the sun during an eclipse and nothing happened, right? So
it depends where they were. I mean, you can't say, I don't know, but
that's the thing.
You're better to have welding goggles if you can get a hold of a pair of welding goggles.
Sure. That's what we're told. So this is the thing. So I question everything. I just can't help it. So we're, just the other day we're sitting around talking, and I just accepted it my whole life. Yeah, don't look at the eclipse. It's bad for your eyes. Okay. I just accepted it, but I never questioned any more of it. I didn't say, well, why? Or I might have said why. And the answer they gave me, I just said, oh, well, I don't really understand it, but okay, I get you. But we really did and we looked on Google for all the explanations of why not to look. And some of them were really funny. Like they actually didn't make sense in the English language. Like they actually didn't make any sense whatsoever. The reasons why you're not supposed to look at it. So, okay, there could be a scientist listening or a doctor or whatever who really does understand, the science of it. But again, I'd like to say who out of the millions and millions and millions of people who have looked directly into a full solar eclipse, do we have to say, yes, I did it and my eyesight was perfect and now I need glasses or whatever, I can't see anymore. So that's all I wanted to just kind of allude to. So if you're like me and you question too, and you have a question about that and you're wondering the same thing, like I'm sure, maybe you know the answer. And if you do, put it in the comments. We really appreciate it. Yeah. Buzz has been building about the once in a lifetime. I don't know if it's once in a lifetime. I remember being a kid and having a full solar eclipse come around. Do you remember solar eclipses too, Miles?
Most of the time there was cloudy out.
Oh, okay. Well, I remember.
I don't really remember one per se as far as seeing an actual eclipse.
Okay.
And apparently it could be cloudy this coming Monday too. We don't know what's going to happen, right?
Well,
if it's cloudy, it just gets dark.
Well, let's go back to our Environment Canada thing here, our forecast. It says Saturday, Sunday, Monday, all sunny.
Oh.
All sunny in the forecast.
Maybe they can help us out with the, what do you call it? The air...
the chemtrails?
Chemtrails.
That's the thing, exactly. People will be pissed that day for sure if they wanted to see the eclipse. And
they're trying to save your eyes, right?
Maybe, yeah. Bill Gates is worried about your eyes, apparently. Okay, let's back to the story here. So, a once in a lifetime, but I do remember it in my lifetime, so a twice in a lifetime for some people. Solar eclipse that will happen in North America on April the 8th. That's Monday. And it's no different among Sudburyans. The eclipse will be visible here in Sudbury. But it won't reach its totality. It won't be a total solar eclipse. As such, most members of the Sudbury Astronomy Club will be traveling out of town. They'll be part of that state of emergency that the mayor of Niagara Falls declared. State of emergency.
Talking about the eclipse, I remember a few times in my lifetime watching somebody welding.
Okay.
And
without
glasses, but I could look and glance at it for a couple of seconds.
Yep.
But don't look at it prolonged, right?
Okay.
And then I look away, right?
Sure.
And the guy said it's okay to just see what I'm doing, but just don't stare.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like when you leave something on your computer screen and it's just there for too long. With the old plasma screens, anyways, it would burn right into the screen, whatever was on there.
No, I don't know if the eclipse is the same way where they can just take a look at it for a couple of seconds or. what's the story with that? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, but they're saying the astronomy club from here are going to head out of town because they want to see the full thing. They don't want to just a
They're going
partial
down to
eclipse.
Niagara. Okay.
Yeah, and you heard they declared a state of emergency already ahead of time, right, in Niagara?
Yeah,
For the
that's
amount
kind
of
of
people?
strange.
Yeah, I know, but
I mean, give me
yeah.
a suggestion. Don't look at the eclipse. That's all. I mean, state of emergency.
well, the state of emergency
Or they
was
say,
for the amount of people they're going to be getting.
oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Because people
I see.
all over Canada are going to be going there, right?
Well, I heard even in the U.S. news that they're even flying up from all over and from the West Coast and all over to like the Niagara
Yeah.
area, Niagara Falls,
Yeah.
Buffalo.
Yeah, a lot of
Yeah,
communities that are in the eye of it have declared
they estimate
emergencies.
about 1.5 million people will be in the Buffalo area.
Exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
so
And one of our friends, he'll be down there as well. And I said, wow, you should
what do you say
really,
about LED?
I don't know, check it out and see. I'll continue with the story here. So
Yeah.
the Sudbury Astronomy Club will be traveling out of town and into the path of the total eclipse, including Colin DeRochier, the club's outreach coordinator. He and other club members will be setting up on private property in the Niagara area to view the eclipse. The Niagara region has actually declared a state of emergency, like we just said, as it prepares to welcome up to 1 million visitors for the celestial event. Other Sudbury Astronomy Club members are actually going south of the border down toward Mexico and the central United States to see it, where there's a better chance of clear skies. I wonder why there's a better chance of clear skies. I know Jerome went on a vacation and sent some pictures back, and no chemtrails down there for some reason.
Oh.
Not a chemtrail.
Ben had a good idea. He says they used to use needles to poke a bunch of holes in a piece of cardboard. They peek through the holes at the eclipse.
Yeah, apparently you can make some kind of
I've heard that before.
contraption, to see it.
Yeah.
So I can't believe I made it through all the comments. There's so many comments today, and that's great. Keep them coming. So eclipse I'll be here. Apparently we're getting 80%. So I saw a trajectory, a
80%.
video.
That's quite a bit.
Yeah. So 100% in Niagara, Kingston, maybe Montreal, Gatineau, not Gatineau, just right beside,
wow.
maybe, beside Montreal. Anyways, it goes and then it's,
Along
through
the St. Lawrence.
New Brunswick. It goes right through New Brunswick. And I'm sure it goes up through Newfoundland. I would have to go back and look again, but
Yeah, I don't know if it goes east of Newfoundland or right through. I didn't look.
yeah. So,
It's all at the same time.
well, it's different times, right? Because I guess it's going south to north. It's going
I see.
through Mexico.
Well, I
then
guess it's the rotation of the Earth with the
Yeah.
moon, right?
hits the United States, goes up, but it doesn't take too long though. It was surprising how fast it goes over the whole continent. I was thinking, wait, really? That's within like an hour or something.
I wonder if it affects the tides, though.
Yeah, these are questions I have too because I don't know. It'd be
Well,
interesting.
I know the moon. The reason there is tides is because of the moon. I know that. But
Yep.
the
Gravitational.
gravity of the moon pulling the water.
Yep.
Yeah.
For sure. Okay, so also municipalities across central and eastern Canada have spent months preparing for this event that'll just last 3.5 minutes in total
That's it.
over us. Yeah.
A lot of
And
excitement for like 3 minutes.
exactly. And apparently there's complete darkness too, right? So
Yeah.
when you get the full eclipse. So here it'll just be partial darkness. It'll be almost
Yeah. It'll
like
get
a
dark like a bad rainstorm.
partly cloudy day or whatever. But
Yeah.
8 days in Punta Cana, not one chemtrail witnessed. That's incredible.
Well, that's
Wow.
tourist area.
Yeah, I guess, but
They can't do it down there.
you don't want them to be cooler, I guess. No, it's not.
No.
They don't have climate change in Punta Cana,
People aren't
apparently.
too happy if they can't see the sun.
Yeah, I know. They'd be looking up a lot more too. Like, where's the sun? What the heck is that trail coming from? Get out of the way! I'm trying to get the sun. Then they'd be looking into stuff a little bit more.
Yep.
Crazy stuff. Anyways, it's worth a deep dive. It goes on over our heads each and every day. Where you're breathing the stuff in, it's we got to talk about it more and more here because no one else seems to be. Not sure what the big deal is. We had an eclipse before, kind of thing. Exactly. It's not a once in a lifetime thing. We've had them before. This is a once in a lifetime thing, though. If you go look at, there was another eclipse in 2017 as well in October that crossed the United States.
1979, I seen one of the. There was a big break for a while.
There was, and now we get it within 7 years. We've had three, really. So you had the one in 2017 that went from pretty much Oregon all the way down, almost Florida or wherever, that crisscrossed the United States that way. Went through a million Salems, which is weird, like one of these weird kind of anomalies. They're all called Salems, which I guess interpreted means peace. So it went through there.
Like Springfield. There's so many Springfields.
There's a lot of Springfields, yes. There's tons of Springfields. And now this particular one that's crossing the other way seems to be going in the path of, or at least in the trajectory of a lot of places called Nineveh, which is interesting. So Nineveh meaning, we all know what happened to that particular city in the biblical story. So it's just interesting.
Another warning.
Kind of thing. If you think, okay, the first one passes through all the towns that are called peace, and then the next one, they go through the one destruction, and there's 7 years in between the two of them. And then there was a third eclipse that kind of went across, and it kind of makes like an A looking like an anarchy almost thing, minus the circle. Yeah, and then you take the first Hebrew letter, old ancient Hebrew, and it's there, and then the last Hebrew letter. And so it's basically both there. And so it symbolizes the first and the last, so which is interesting. So there's a lot going on. These are just two small little anomalies that are part of these, three eclipses, this last one happening this Monday on April the 8th. But it's worth looking into. I mean, there's going to be some crazy stuff if you look on YouTube, but you're able to discern between crazy and not, right? You shouldn't have to tell people.
Most people should be.
Yeah, you know what's crazy or not. You just look into it, and if it makes sense to you, then lots of things. You need to look into it first before you make up your mind. Don't listen to other people when they're telling you things. Always look into it on your own. That's the way to to not be taken down, roads that you had no choice of. You're the boss of you. You need to think with your mind and make your decisions based on things that you study and look into. So that's the time that we have for the show today, Miles. Did you notice how fast the show went at all?
It always goes fast, especially when you're on it.
I know. That's the thing. I was just saying to Billy yesterday, the other day, I had an hour of time in the morning and I was looking, the hour seems to be going slow. How do we fill a whole show in an hour? It's crazy how fast it goes.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Miles. So we'll have to do this again soon.
Welcome.
You let me know when you're up for the next time.
Sure. Anytime. I can keep going if you want. Anytime.
Okay.
So I'm off for at least till middle of April or more.
Okay.
On when
Ooh,
doctor lets me
that's great.
get back.
So we might as well take advantage of your time.
Anytime.
Great. Okay. Well, we'll be in touch. I appreciate that. And I know the viewers and listeners do as well. So thanks everyone for commenting. Thanks, Miles.
Thanks,
so thanks, Aaron and co-host Miles. Great show. And I will look at getting better too. Thanks, Vin. We appreciate that. We appreciate you, and we appreciate CKLU. And coming up next is Earshot Daily. We'll be back same time, same place, God willing, tomorrow. Have a great one, everyone. Ciao.
This is Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.